Exciting stuff to go down the list. This portion of it contains the first starter Pokemon as well as the first rare card. Overall, it's been more challenging than I thought to distinguish between these first stages, but I believe I compiled a successful 10 here. So here we go with the first fire type.
131. Vulpix. Poor Vulpix has gotta be the worst first stage fire type. While most first stages cost 1 energy to launch their 10 damage status inflictor, Vulpix takes 2, and it's confusion, which arguably isn't even better than poison or paralysis. That 50 HP doesn't make Vulpix anything remotely powerful, and the best it can hope for is getting a confusion blow to make up for its weak attack power. Luckily, its evolution completely rewrites Vulpix's poor performance, and puts that excess energy to far better use, but Vulpix by itself is a poor choice. 130. Drowsy. Drowsy is pretty crummy. It's identical to Vulpix except it has Pound, which is a paltry 1 energy 10 damage attack. This means that unlike Vulpix, which has nothing to do in that first turn before powering up Confuse Ray, Drowsy at least has the option to do 10 damage, which is just a tiny fragment it needs to best Vulpix. Even though it can't land damage on Psychic Resistance, it can at least confuse them and make them damage themselves, which is better than nothing. That being said, it's just Vulpix with an extra basic attack. 129. Clefairy. Clefairy is more of a gimmick than a usable card. You never want to waste time using Sing, because if it fails, you're dead. Metronome is where it's at. It all depends on who you're facing, and the better your opponent, the better you'll fare. For 3 energy, it can duplicate the attack. It's like Mirror Move, but good, because you don't need to be hit by it first. So if your opponent is foolish enough to use Charizard against Clefairy, you can Fire Spin his ass for no drawbacks. Unfortunately, the stronger attack your opponent has, usually the higher HP too, so maybe Clefairy will get a shot in, but after that, its chances of survival are non-existent. So honestly, you're better off just using the strong card instead of Clefairy, because its low HP and expensive energy costs make it too risky to use until late in the duel. Even then, you're probably better off not doing so, unless you want to give your opponent an easy prize card. Besides, its evolution takes it to new heights anyway. 128. Diglett. Diglett could be decent if not for that HP. That 30 HP means it's not going to be able to hold on long, maybe not even long enough to get the 2 energies needed for Mud Slap. There's no point ever using Dig unless you're waiting to put on the second energy for Mud Slap, but once you do, 30 damage goes a surprisingly long way. It can even knock out Diglett in one hit. Unfortunately, it's absolutely worthless against anything with a fighting resistance, which many cards seem to have, but it's not much of a risk sending it out first, as a free retreat cost that could easily correct the mistake. Too bad it's got a really low HP, but with that resistance, it can at least possibly do some serious damage before it's quickly knocked out. 127. Paris. Paris isn't going to be showing up in the top 10 anytime soon. Scratch is nothing special. At least it's colorless, so the 2 energy cost is slightly more easily filled. But then again, you need Grass to use its other move Spore, which is horribly flawed. Since it doesn't do any damage, its only purpose is to buy time. But because it costs the same as Scratch, it's pointless to use unless you're in a rare condition where your opponent's preventing damage, or you're extremely desperate to stall. But with a low HP and beyond generic and ineffective moves, Paris is simply not a great option. 126. Bulbasaur. The first Pokemon, the original McCoy, the undisputed least popular of the starters. How's this card look? Weak HP, standard retreat, no resistance, etc. For a basic first stage, he's pretty poor. Bulbasaur's got 1 attack, Leech Seed. It's not good. 2 energy for 20 damage is underwhelming, and its effect isn't going to do much besides delay the inevitable for 1 to 2 turns at most, unless you're fighting something even weaker. It's definitely the worst of all starter cards because of it. 125. Sandshrew. What other attack should a Sandshrew have than Sand Attack? Just like in the video game, it's an annoying move to go up against. Since it only costs 1 energy, you can begin the frustration right away, and your opponent has to get a successful coin toss to land their next attack. Sand Attack has the potential to protect Sandshrews' poor health. At least it can't be cured full heal like other status inflictors, but your opponent retreating still negates it. Unfortunately, since it's a fighting type, it will do nothing but stall against any flying card, and if your opponent has no retreat cost or even a low one, they might just sacrifice that energy to give you a beatdown with an unaffected bench Pokemon. Regardless, against neutral or electric typing, Sandshrew just might be devious enough to last a few rounds. 124. Horsey. At least it doesn't have Water Gun, so that's something unique it has going for it. Unfortunately for Horsey, Water Gun is more powerful, even though Smoke Screen is better for defense. For 1 energy, Horsey fires its ink and forces the opponent to flip a coin before attacking. If they're unsuccessful, Horsey lives to fight another day. If not, Horsey's in for some serious trouble. Again, if your opponent switches out, it negates the effect, but still, preventing attacks is a valuable skill for low HP cards. It also has no retreat cost, which has its uses, though unless status hindered, there's no reason why you wouldn't just want to have Horsey fight until it's knocked out. Overall, it's a semi-original water first stage, but a poor one at that. 123. Weedle. What is more effective, poisoning or paralyzing your opponent? Well, paralyzing puts an absolute stop to your opponent attacking or retreating, while poisoning can easily be cured by switching if you're willing to sacrifice some energy, or sometimes none if there's no retreat cost. This can't be done if you're paralyzed. Poisoning kills faster, but paralysis leaves you safer, which is better in the long run in my opinion. Certainly poisoning is not something you want as it does an additional 10 damage per turn and leaves you with an opportunity for a free shot from your opponent if your timing's poor. Also, once you're poisoned, you don't need any more successful coin tosses, so I really want to say they're equal, but I have to give paralysis that slight edge. Regardless, it's reasonable that Weedle isn't going to be sticking around too long where even that 10 damage and 50% chance of poison attack is going to do much of a benefit for you. So when comparing paralysis to poison, Weedle just slightly pales in comparison to its larvae brother. 122. Caterpie. Not much to say about this little bug. It's got a low HP and one generic attack. String Shot isn't going to win you many battles, but if you're lucky, it might give Caterpie 1 or 2 extra turns. Regardless, relying on luck is a pretty poor decision. At least it's not as worthless as it is in the video game, but its low HP and damage output mean it's not much of an improvement.
That's another 10 down. Bad news about Bulbasaur, but he'll have another star to accompany him in the next video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Catch you next time.